Top 10 Dark Corners of Valentine's Day. I'm your host, Tammy D. We are taking a look directly through the arrow of Cupid's curse, a tale of Valentine's Day history and crimes intertwined. Each year on February 14th, millions of people across the globe exchange cards, gifts, and words of love in celebration of Valentine's Day. But beneath the surface of this seemingly sweet holiday lies a darker side, steeped in history and marked by crime. In this Valentine's Day documentary special, we will journey through time, from the ancient origins of Valentine's Day to the modern crimes of passion that occur on this day of love. We will uncover the stories that are often left untold, shedding light on the darker corners of Valentine's Day. So, sit back and prepare for a Valentine's Day tale like no other. Disclaimer: the purpose of this podcast is to educate and entertain, not to glorify or sensationalize crime. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of myself, Tammy D, the creator. The information presented in this podcast is based on historical sources and research. As the creator of this podcast, I do not endorse or condone any of the actions or behaviours depicted in the true stories. The following content contains graphic descriptions of violence, murder, and other criminal activities. The dark ancient origins of Valentine's Day. Lupercalia, the pagan origins of Valentine's Day. Lupercalia, celebrated on February 15th, was an ancient Roman festival of fertility and purification. The festival, which has been traced back as far as the 6th century BC, was conducted annually under the superintendence of a corporation of priests called Luperci. The festival began with the sacrifice of one or more male goats, a representation of sexuality, and a dog. After the sacrifice, two of the Luperci were led to the altar. Their foreheads were touched with a bloody knife, and the blood was wiped off with wool dipped in milk. The ritual required that the two young men laugh. After the sacrificial feast, the Luperci cut thongs, also called februar, from the skins of the sacrificial animals and ran around Palatine Hill, striking at any woman who came near them. A blow from the thong was supposed to render a woman fertile. Interestingly, Lupercalia is also associated with the legendary she-wolf who nursed Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome. According to Roman legend, the ancient king Amulius ordered Romulus and Remus to be thrown into the Tiber River to drown. A servant took pity on them and placed them inside a basket on the river instead. The river god carried the basket and the brothers downriver to a wild fig tree where it became caught in the branches. The brothers were then rescued and cared for by a she-wolf in a den at the base of Palatine Hill where Rome was founded. Over time, nakedness during Lupercalia lost popularity and the festival became more chaste, if still undignified, and women were whipped on their hands by fully clothed men. In 494 CE, the Christian Church under Pope Gelasius was forbade participation in the festival. It has been suggested that Pope Gelasius I replaced Lupercalia with St. Valentine's Day, celebrated on February 14th, but the origin of that holiday was likely much later. So while Valentine's Day is now associated with love and romance, its origins in the festival of Lupercalia remind us of a time when it was a wild celebration of fertility involving unusual rituals and sacrifices. The Christianization of Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, as we know it today, has its roots in the ancient Roman festival of Lupercalia, which was celebrated on February 15th and was a festival of fertility. However, the day as we know it began to take shape when it was Christianized as a feast day honouring Saint Valentine. Saint Valentine, the priest who defied an emperor. Saint Valentine, who lived in Italy during the 3rd century AD, was a Catholic priest and also worked as a doctor. During his time, Emperor Claudius II Gothicus outlawed marriage for young men, believing that single men made better soldiers than those with wives and families. Valentine, seeing the injustice of this decree, defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. The discovery and consequence. When Valentine's actions were discovered, Claudius ordered that he be put to death. Valentine was arrested and condemned to be beaten to death with clubs and to have his head cut off. The sentence was carried out on February 14th, around the year 270 AD. The first Valentine. Before his death, Valentine wrote a last note to encourage Julia, the daughter of his jailer, whom he had befriended and healed from blindness. He signed the note, "From your Valentine." This note is believed to have inspired the tradition of sending Valentine's cards. So, while Valentine's Day is now associated with love and romance, its origins remind us of a time when it was a wild celebration of fertility, involving unusual rituals and sacrifices, and a brave priest who defied an emperor's decree to uphold love. Valentine's Day in Rome, ancient Rome, Lupercalia. The earliest possible origin of Valentine's Day is the Roman festival of Lupercalia, which was celebrated on February 15th. This pagan celebration involved the sacrifice of a goat and a dog, followed by a ritual in which young men, clad in the sacrificed animals' hides, struck young women to promote fertility. The festival was conducted annually under the superintendence of a corporation of priests called Luperci. The festival began with the sacrifice of one or more male goats, a representation of sexuality, and a dog. The sacrifices were performed by Luperci, a group of Roman priests. Christianization of Valentine's Day. Over time, the Catholic Church became steadfast in its mission to replace pagan practices with Christian ones. Eventually, Pope Gelasius I supplanted Lupercalia's wild festivities with a more sombre feast day in honour of the Christian martyr, Saint Valentine. The Catholic Church recognises at least 3 different saints named Valentine or Valentinus, all of whom were martyred. One legend contends that Valentine was a priest who served during the 3rd century in Rome. When Emperor Claudius II decided that single men made better soldiers than those with wives and families, he outlawed marriage for young men. Valentine, realizing the injustice of the decree, defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. When Valentine's actions were discovered, Claudius ordered that he be put to death. Evolution of Valentine's Day. Over time, the association between Valentine's Day and romantic love grew stronger, with the exchange of gifts and love notes becoming more common. By the Middle Ages, Valentine's Day had become a popular holiday in Europe, and by the 18th century, it had spread to the American colonies. Today, Valentine's Day is celebrated in many regions of the world, and it has become a significant cultural, religious, and commercial celebration of romance and love. The holiday has evolved to encompass a broader spectrum of relationships, including the emergence of Galentine's Day, a day celebrating the platonic love between women. The commercialization of Valentine's Day, a journey through time, 1714 to 1830. During the Georgian era, Valentine's Day was celebrated, but it was not as commercialized as it is today. The most fashionable Georgian houses had the interior walls panelled from floor to ceiling and divided horizontally into 3 parts, in the same proportions as classicists defined their columns. As Britain moved on from its Civil War past and began building its empire, many upper-class Georgians could now afford to decorate the walls with colour. 1837 to 1901. The Victorian era saw a significant shift in the way Valentine's Day was celebrated. With the introduction of the uniform penny post in 1840, Valentine cards could be mailed for just 1 penny. This led to the mass production of Valentine cards. In fact, just 1 year after the uniform penny postage, 400,000 Valentines were posted throughout England. By 1871, 1.2 million cards were processed by the General Post Office in London. The cards, often handmade, featured lace, pressed grass and Valentine's jokes. Some Victorians even assembled original Valentines from materials purchased at a stationer's shop. Lace, bits of mirror, bows and ribbons, seashells and seeds, gold and silver foil appliques, silk flowers and cliched printed mottos like "Be Mine" and "Constant and True." 1901-1910. The Edwardian era continued the traditions of the Victorian era, with Valentine's Day cards becoming increasingly popular. However, there isn't much specific information available about how the Edwardians celebrated Valentine's Day. Modern day. Today, Valentine's Day has become a significant cultural, religious, and commercial celebration of romance and love in many regions of the world. It is celebrated with the exchange of gifts, such as flowers, chocolates, and jewellery, and by expressing affection with greetings and gifts. The holiday has evolved to encompass a broader spectrum of relationships, including the emergence of Galentine's Day, a day celebrating the platonic love between women, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, a crime of passion or revenge. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which occurred on February 14, 1929, is one of the most notorious incidents in the annals of American crime history. This event marked the bloody climax of a gang war between arch-rivals Al Capone and George "Bugs" Moran, two of the most infamous gangsters of the Prohibition era. During the late 1920s, gang warfare ruled the streets of Chicago. Chief gangster Al Capone sought to consolidate control by eliminating his rivals in the illegal trades of bootlegging, gambling, and prostitution. His main adversary was George "Bugs" Moran, who ran his bootlegging operations out of a garage at 2120 North Clark Street. On the morning of February 14, 1929, 7 men associated with Moran's gang were lined up against a wall in a garage on the city's north side. They were then shot to death by several men dressed as policemen. The victims included gang members Adam Heyer, Frank Gussenberg, Pete Gussenberg, John May, Al Weinshank and James Clark, as well as a visitor, Dr. Reinhard H. Schwimmer. Al Capone was immediately suspected of orchestrating the massacre, although he was living in Florida at the time. Various suspects were arrested, including Capone associate Jack McGurn, but authorities couldn't make the charge stick. Despite the public outcry, the investigation faced numerous challenges. Witnesses were reluctant to cooperate, and evidence was scarce. The authorities, seemingly hindered by the criminals' network of corruption, struggled to bring the perpetrators to justice. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre remains an unsolved crime and was never officially linked to Capone, but he was generally considered to have been responsible for the murders. Despite the lack of convictions related to the massacre, Capone's criminal activities eventually caught up with him. He was jailed in 1931 for tax evasion. After serving his prison term, Capone was released and moved to Florida, where he died of syphilis in 1947. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre is a chilling reminder of the violence and lawlessness of the Prohibition era. It underscores the brutal lengths to which people will go in their quest for power and control. Despite the passage of time, the massacre continues to captivate the public imagination, serving as a stark reminder of the dark side of human nature. A Valentine's Day tragedy, the case of Tiana Notice. Valentine's Day, a day typically associated with love and romance, took a tragic turn in 2009 when Tiana Notice, a promising graduate student, was brutally murdered by her ex-boyfriend, James Carter II. Tiana Notice was born in February 1984 and was academically gifted. She finished high school while already in her first year of college. After graduation, Tiana pursued a master's degree in the Communications Department at the University of Hartford, Connecticut. She was only a semester away from finishing the course and considered a career in politics or law. Tiana met James Carter II on an internet dating site sometime in 2008 while doing her master's. Initially, things seemed to be going well for them. His dating profile said he was working in insurance. But about 6 months into their relationship, Tiana learned that James was sentenced for the domestic abuse of an ex-girlfriend. Furthermore, Tiana's father thought that James had been cheating on her. After about a year together, Tiana decided to break up with James. However, things began to get worse after the breakup. She even had to get a restraining order against him. In return, James also did the same. According to Tiana's mother, Kathy, James claimed that Tiana assaulted him. His behaviour escalated after that, with Tiana receiving threatening emails that talked about her receiving punishment and losing everything. Not just that, James began stalking Tiana, waiting for her outside her apartment and following her around. He would also call and text her constantly. On February 14, 2009, Tiana came home to pack a bag, only to become the victim of a savage attack. Tiana was stabbed 20 times, including twice in the chest, after which the attacker left the scene. Tiana was profusely bleeding out, but was able to call 911. The neighbours also tried to help her, and she was rushed to the hospital. However, Tiana succumbed to her injuries. Despite the harassment, Tiana's loved ones claimed that the authorities didn't take her seriously. The police didn't think the emails were threatening. Furthermore, Kathy said the young woman went to the police 33 times in 6 weeks, but to no avail. Kathy added that at one point the police accused her daughter of having a fake restraining order and didn't believe what she was telling them. However, the authorities already knew who was responsible, thanks to Tiana's 911 call declaration and extensive evidence. James Carter II was convicted of killing Tiana Notice. On January 13, 2012, he was sentenced to serve 60 years in prison. The case of Tiana Notice is a tragic reminder of the dark side of love and the devastating consequences of domestic violence. Despite the tragedy, Tiana's family has worked tirelessly to ensure her legacy lives on. They received a settlement of $10 million after the Waterbury and Plainville police departments were found negligent in this case. They also started the Tiana Angelique Notice Foundation to toughen laws against domestic violence cases and murders. They are also creating a GPS system that shows when an attacker is near a victim. Through their efforts, they hope to prevent such tragedies from happening in the future. A Valentine's Day tragedy. The case of Nathan Leuthold. On Valentine's Day 2013, a tragic event unfolded in Peoria, Illinois that shocked the community. Nathan Leuthold, a former Baptist missionary, was accused of murdering his wife, Denise Leuthold. Nathan and Denise Leuthold were childhood sweethearts. They married in July 1995 and had 3 children, Seth, Julia, and Janelle. The couple served frequent, albeit short, overseas missionary tasks. By February 2013, the Leutholds resided with her parents at 700 West Mossville Road in Peoria, Illinois. On February 14, 2013, Denise Leuthold was found dead in her parents' home. She had been fatally shot once in the head with a .40 caliber handgun. Nathan arrived home around 3 p.m. to discover a break-in and immediately called 911. The investigators initially hypothesized it was a burglary gone wrong, given the signs of forced entry and items including a laptop, digital camera, jewelry and 2 guns stolen from the residence. The detectives learned 2 guns, including a .40 caliber handgun, were also reported missing. However, they discovered that someone had fetched a spare pair of her car keys to drive to an abandoned park and leave the car there. Investigators found it unlikely that a burglar would find a spare pair of keys. Moreover, the murderer used a Glock 40 to shoot Denise. In fact, it was the same gun that Nathan Leuthold owned and now claimed was missing. How to muffle a gun, hitting someone over the head to knock them out, and lethal injection were among Nathan's internet searches on his computer. Following a 6-day trial, several recovered emails and web history, and statements from 40 witnesses, the jury reportedly took 2 hours and finally declared Nathan Leuthold guilty of first-degree murder. The court found Nathan Leuthold guilty of murdering Denise in 2014 and sentenced him to 80 years in prison. He is currently serving time at the Illinois Department of Corrections and was 39 at the time of the conviction. The case of Nathan Leuthold serves as a stark reminder of the darker side of relationships, even those that exist in the limelight of Hollywood. It underscores the importance of taking allegations of abuse seriously and ensuring that justice is served. As the legal battle continues, the entertainment industry and the public await the outcome of this high-profile case. A Valentine's Day tragedy, the case of Oscar Pistorius. On Valentine's Day 2013, a tragic event unfolded in Pretoria, South Africa, that shocked the world. Oscar Pistorius, a renowned Paralympic athlete, shot and killed his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp. Oscar Pistorius, also known as the Blade Runner, was a leading South African runner who won attention as an athlete with a disability competing at a high level, including at multiple Paralympic Games and the 2012 Summer Olympics. Reeva Steenkamp, a model and law graduate, had been Pistorius's girlfriend for 3 months. In the early morning of February 14, 2013, Steenkamp was shot and killed by Pistorius at his Pretoria home. Pistorius acknowledged that he shot Steenkamp, but he said that he mistook her for an intruder. He fired 4 shots through a locked toilet door. Pistorius was taken into police custody and was formally charged with murder in a Pretoria court on February 15, 2013. The entire trial was broadcast live via audio, and parts of the trial were also broadcast live via television. Pistorius testified that on the night of the shooting, the couple had the dinner at about 19 o'clock local time before watching television and falling asleep between 21 o'clock and 22 o'clock. He said he woke in the early hours and heard a noise from the bathroom. Pistorius said he grabbed his firearm and told Steenkamp, who he thought was still in bed, to call the police. He then fired 4 shots at the door. The trial of Oscar Pistorius for the murder of Reeva Steenkamp opened on March 3, 2014 in the High Court of South Africa in Pretoria. On September 11, 2014, Judge Thokozile Masipa delivered a verdict that Pistorius was not guilty of murder, but guilty of the culpable homicide of Steenkamp and reckless endangerment with a firearm at a restaurant. On October 21, 2014, Pistorius was sentenced to a maximum of 5 years for culpable homicide with a concurrent 3-year suspended prison sentence for reckless endangerment. He was released on parole on October 19, 2015, after serving 1/6 of his sentence. However, the state appealed the conviction, and in December 2015, the Supreme Court of Appeal overturned the conviction for culpable homicide, finding him guilty of murder instead. On July 6, 2016, Judge Masipa sentenced Pistorius to 6 years in prison for murder. The state appealed again, this time for a longer sentence. The Supreme Court of Appeal then imposed a sentence of 15 years, with the time he had already served, reducing the time to an additional 13 years and 5 months. The case of Oscar Pistorius is a tragic reminder of how a day typically associated with love and romance can take a dark turn. It also highlights the complexities of the legal system and the long road to justice. Despite the tragedy, it serves as a stark reminder of the importance of gun safety and the devastating consequences of domestic violence. Title: A Valentine's Day Controversy. The Case of Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf, a renowned Hollywood actor, found himself during a controversy when he was accused of assault by his ex-girlfriend, the musician FKA Twigs. The allegations, which surfaced in December 2020, sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and led to a legal battle that continues to this day. Shia LaBeouf, known for his roles in blockbuster films such as Transformers and Indiana Jones and The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, met FKA Twigs, whose real name is Tahalia Barnett, on the set of his film Honey Boy in 2018. The two began dating and their relationship lasted for about a year. In December 2020, FKA Twigs filed a lawsuit against LaBeouf, accusing him of sexual assault and infliction of emotional distress. She alleged that LaBeouf knowingly gave her disease, tried to strangle her, slammed her into a car, and became angry when she spoke to other men. She described their relationship as a living nightmare and claimed that she felt scared and intimidated and controlled by LaBeouf. LaBeouf's response. Responding to the allegations, LaBeouf denied each and every allegation of physical and emotional abuse. His lawyers argued that he did not cause harm to FKA Twigs and asked for the intimate battery allegations to be dismissed, stating that none of the alleged acts were driven by physical intimacy and/or the conduct did not involve intimate behavior. They also claimed that his alleged conduct was reasonably necessary for his self-defense and/or safety. The legal battle between LaBeouf and FKA Twigs has been ongoing since the allegations were made public. A trial date has been set for April 17, 2023. During the trial, FKA Twigs will present the intimate battery, assault, and intentional infliction of emotional distress claims she filed in 2020. The allegations have had a significant impact on LaBeouf's career. Following the accusations, Netflix removed LaBeouf from its For Your Consideration page, which is used by film companies to highlight the individuals they hope will be nominated for prizes to awards voters. The case of Shia LaBeouf serves as a stark reminder of the darker side of relationships, even those that exist in the limelight of Hollywood. It underscores the importance of taking allegations of mistreatment seriously and ensuring that justice is served. As the legal battle continues, the entertainment industry and the public await the outcome of this high-profile case. Valentine's Day, a holiday traditionally associated with expressions of love and affection, carries a complex history and a multifaceted narrative that extends beyond its modern-day celebrations. As we have journeyed through the origins of this day, from the wild Lupercalia festival to the Christianization of St. Valentine's martyrdom, we have uncovered a tapestry of human experiences that are as diverse as they are profound. The darker aspects of Valentine's Day, often overshadowed by the holiday's romantic image, serve as a stark reminder of the complexities of human nature. The crimes of passion that have occurred on this day, from the infamous St. Valentine's Day massacre to the tragic cases of Oscar Pistorius, Tiana Notis, Shia LaBeouf, and Nathan Luthold, highlight the tragic potential of love turned sour. These narratives contrast sharply with the holiday's image of love and romance, challenging our perceptions and prompting us to reflect on the deeper meanings of love, passion, and devotion. As we celebrate love and affection on Valentine's Day, let us also remember to foster respect, understanding, and kindness in all our relationships. In the end, Valentine's Day is a testament to the human capacity for love, but it also serves as a reminder of our potential for darkness. It is a day that celebrates love in all its forms, but it also prompts us to reflect on the importance of respect, understanding, and kindness in all our relationships. As we navigate the complexities of love and human relationships, let Valentine's Day serve as a reminder of the light and dark sides of human nature. Let it inspire us to strive for love that is not only passionate, but also compassionate, not only romantic, but also respectful. Hey there, incredible community member. Your support means the world to us, seriously. As we gear up for the next episode, I want to give a massive shout out to you for being part of this amazing journey. Before you go, could you do us a quick favour? Check if you've hit that bell icon. It's like our secret handshake. You'll never miss a beat with us. And hey, while you're at it, let's aim high. Let's get to 10,000 subs, likes. It's not just a number. It's a milestone we can reach together. Oh, and those likes, shares and comments, they're like little sparks that fuel our growth. So keep them coming. Your engagement isn't just about numbers. It's about building connections and making this space even more vibrant. Thanks for being awesome, and let's keep this community buzzing together.